Jinwoo agreed happily. Wouldn't everyone be a little nervous if just a few minutes could change their whole life? Jinwoo walked up to the worker who was now in Junghoon's spot. Name: Jinwoo Sung, Mr. Sung. Okay, please put your hand on that black panel and wait. Jinwoo went to the manometer and did what he was told. He had been given the lowest rank. The worker checked Jinwoo's forms. Many hunters who wanted a new evaluation were usually E rank. The worker gave Jinwoo a sad look, then started the machine that measured magical power. Beep. Whir. Whir. The machine made a few sounds for a short time, then stopped all of a sudden. The answer showed up on the screen. What was wrong with it? The person testing looked confused and told Jinwoo to stop. Wait a minute, please. What? Let's try that again. Okay. Jinwoo put his hand on the machine once more. Beep. The machine hummed and vibrated. What? This had never happened before. The worker looked increasingly annoyed. Why would the machine start having problems right now? They asked Jinwoo to try again. I'm really sorry, sir. Let's try just one more time. Jinwoo decided to keep his hand on the control panel, because they had tried so many times already. Beep. Whir whir. Whir. What on earth is happening? Small drops of sweat appeared on the man's forehead. People started to whisper and notice something was strange. What is happening? How many times has this happened? Is there a problem? The worker started to sweat more as people looked at him. Beep. A humming sound grew louder. Oh no, what am I supposed to do? As the worker became more worried. What's going on? Where is Changsik? And why are you doing everything by yourself? The worker turned around quickly. Kisu Jung, who helps at the front desk, was here. Mr. Jung. The person testing the equipment was happy to see him. Changsik went to the bathroom. How could he leave his job in the middle of Kisu stopped himself? Actually, I did the same thing sometimes. Ahem. It seemed like Kisu arrived just when he was needed. Was the new person having difficulty now that their leader was gone? It was time for an experienced person to show them what to do. So what's the problem? Kisu asked, interested in what was happening. The magic meter might not be working right. Is that so? Please look, sir. The screen kept showing an error message. The worker moved so Kisu could look at the results on the monitor. Kisu was shocked. How long have you been working here? Around 6 months. Did I do something wrong? No, that's not it. Just get Changsik over here right away. What? I don't care where he is. Get him here now. Kisu's voice got louder. The worker jumped a little.
What's wrong, sir?
This isn't a mistake. It's saying the numbers are too high. Don't you understand what that means? So it's not an error message. Why were all the new people so slow to understand? Kisu looked from the new person to the one they were testing. He didn't think this would happen. This was Jinwoo Sung, the man the leader of the White Tiger Guild had asked Kisu to watch. Kisu kept his eyes on Jinwoo as he explained what was happening. It means our device can't read his magical power. Silly. Wait, does that mean? The new person said they had only been here for 6 months. It had been 2 years since that last happened. So it made sense the kid didn't understand what was happening. Kisu kept talking with a trembling voice. Yes, he is an S rank. See him special. Many people thought it was just a rank, but it actually means someone whose magical energy is too high to measure. Just quickly get Changsik. Right away, sir. Changsik Kim was still pulling up his pants when he ran over after the employee called him. Puff. Puff. Let me see. Changsik's face turned white after looking at the monitor. His eyes shook when he looked at Jinwoo. This is the 10th strongest in Korea. He walked over to Jinwoo. Seeing him, Jinwoo finally took his hand off the black screen. According to the magic meter, Mr. Sung Changsik remembered that Jinwoo was already a hunter with a license. Hunter Jinwoo Sung, our equipment can't accurately measure your magical energy. I would need approval from my supervisors to use a better device. Could you please return in 3 days? Changsik explained what needed to happen next. How long had it been since he last spoke those words? He could hardly remember. From hunting, Jinwoo knew what this meant. Excellent. His test was paused. This meant if the machine couldn't measure his power in 3 days, he would definitely be an S rank. Everything was working out. If he had received an A rank result today, he would have needed to become stronger and return to the association for another test. It was already unusual to wake up with special abilities once. So should he tell everyone he'd woken up with them again? Having a second awakening was seen as good luck, but people would probably not believe him if he said it happened a third time. He didn't want to waste time dealing with unnecessary trouble. Jinwoo was glad the results were what he hoped for. He turned around. What? Everyone in the room looked at him. Oh my, I didn't expect you to visit me in person with everything you do. Please, you are Director Park of the association. A phone call doesn't seem right when speaking with you. The friendly smile with President Jongin Choi's words made the older director laugh. The man standing before Director Park was the leader of the Hunters, Korea's best group, the Ultimate Hunter. The person in charge of the country's strongest team. Director Park was very pleased that this person was being friendly with him. Jongin held up a cigarette. Can I have one? Oh, certainly. Would you like one too? No, thank you. Jongin lit the cigarette and took a puff, looking very relaxed and confident, like someone who had already accomplished a lot at a young age. Was this what people meant by charisma? As Director Park stared at Jongin, completely fascinated, the hunter suddenly said, "It sounds like something is happening in Building B." Building B. The director looked toward the room where people were being tested. The director couldn't hear anything himself, but Jongin was a very powerful hunter. His senses were much stronger than most people's, so if he could hear something it was probably really happening. It was embarrassing that this was happening with such an important visitor present. Director Park looked worried. I will go see what is happening. Wait, Jongin said. He put his cigarette on the ground and stepped on it to crush it. I am curious too. Jongin lifted his head to get a better look. His eyes sparkled, and he had a mysterious smile. I'll go with you. Everything in Building B became completely quiet. He said his power was beyond measure. Does that mean he is a top rank? I had only heard stories about powers beyond measure, but I never thought I would see it myself. Everyone gulped. The people trying to recruit Jinwoo from smaller groups had trouble swallowing as he turned around. No one even tried to speak to him. He thought that if he had been a C-rank hunter, the others would have tried to get to know him, maybe even play some games to impress him. If he had been a B-rank hunter, they would have offered him amazing deals, like important jobs in the guild, or a share of the profits. It would have been a very competitive situation. That's not surprising when you think about how valuable it is to have a strong hunter join a group, and the rewards for anyone who could convince one to join. Sometimes strong hunters are persuaded to become leaders in smaller groups. But it was much harder to attract hunters who were even stronger, those with an A rank or higher. Players with an A rank were treated very well by all guilds, big or small. Joining a powerful team was almost certain, and because they earned money from challenging dungeons, their rewards were amazing. Plus, if an A rank player didn't like any of the current guilds, they could even start their own guild and become its leader. Could they create their own group big enough to be useful? An experienced hunter certainly had the skills. But the hunter who just finished his test was ranked even higher. He wasn't just a rank, he was S rank, the highest level of hunter. And there were only 9 of them in all of South Korea. Did that mean there would now be 10? The 10th rank hunter. He was too powerful for these recruiters to even approach. They swallowed hard. All they could do was stay quiet and let him walk by. He seemed like a hopeless dream at first. Or that's what people thought. But then wait a second, could this be a chance to do something great? A few clever people suddenly had the same smart idea. What if they helped this powerful person join a big group and got paid for it? An S-rank player received a very large signing bonus, at least 10 billion won. Even getting 1% of that money would be enough to retire. If someone was fortunate enough to become this player's personal assistant, they would have financial security for the rest of their life. There was talk that one assistant had received a fancy sports car as a birthday gift. Perhaps I could try this too. I am pretty good at convincing people. Should I really attempt this? The people doing the hiring thought about this a lot. In just a short time. Losing would be quickly forgotten, but winning would be remembered forever. They slowly moved closer to Jinwoo, quickly looking at each other. Just then, someone pointed toward the building's entrance. What is that? They were all nervous, so all the recruiters turned to look at the same time. Everyone's eyes grew wide when they saw him. Wow, the man walking into Building B was wearing a nice suit. Everyone there knew who he was. Jongin Choi. What is the leader of the Hunters Guild doing here? It could only be him. Jongin seemed to notice everyone looking at him, so he fixed his jacket and walked over to Jinwoo. How did President Choi get here so fast? Wait, is that guy already working with the Hunters Guild? Did they already know about him? A really good team is special. They should have seen this coming. The people who find new members understood what would happen. They were happy they hadn't talked to Jinwoo yet. It would have been embarrassing if the team leader had seen them trying to be friendly with Jinwoo. It was obvious what was going to happen next. President Choi arrived, and he was very impressive. He was the leader representing all the hunters, and those with the highest rank definitely received special treatment. Even though the recruiters were a little disappointed, they weren't the center of attention. They watched the meeting between the powerful awakened being and the president of the best hunter guild, with smiles. Jinwoo was relieved to see Jongin. This was a good thing. He had been worried about getting too much attention, but President Choi had kindly taken some of that attention away, even without realizing it. Jinwoo quietly thanked the man for helping him as he walked past the guild president. Jongin was surprised. What? Wait. Jongin quickly called out to Jinwoo. Please wait a moment. Jinwoo stopped and turned around. Jongin looked closely at Jinwoo's face. This man is number 10. Jongin had told Director Park he wanted to find out what was happening together, but really he already knew a lot. He had heard people talking about incredible power and problems with the magic measuring tools. Because of this he had been given a big chance. Getting an S rank is amazing. If he can bring this hunter into the guild, they will have 3 hunters at that level. This would make them the strongest guild in South Korea, and strong enough to compete with the best guilds anywhere in the world. How could Jongin not be excited by the idea? He wouldn't need to borrow a special device. He could tell how powerful Jinwoo was just by looking at him. Jinwoo was definitely one of the best hunters. There was no reason to wait 3 days. Jongin cleared his throat and gave Jinwoo his friendliest smile. I am the president of the Hunters Guild, Jongin Choi. Jinwoo already knew that. Jongin's face was often on television. He wondered why such a famous person had come to the association to speak with him, but he didn't have much time to talk. He looked at the clock on the wall. It was already 5:50. If he included travel time, he might be late. Seeing how clearly Jinwoo wanted him to get to the point, Jongin was a little surprised and continued speaking. So, I heard you got your ranking.
Yes.
Do you have a group you want to join?
Not yet.
Jongin was happy to hear that. Good, we are done here. The Hunters was one of the best groups in the world. Those words sounded amazing. Starting today, it wasn't just a wishful thought. You're going to join us. Jongin held on to the good news and said something that might be remembered for a long time. I want to talk about something. Do you have a moment? I don't. Sorry. Jinwoo stopped him and quickly left the association building. Jongin didn't even think about trying to stop him. The other people who worked at the association and were watching were surprised at what had happened. What was that? Did President Choi really get turned down? It looked like he just ignored President Choi. People started whispering. Soon, the building was filled with noise. Jongin tried to stay calm and looked at the man beside him. Director Park. Yes, the director replied, seeming uncomfortable. Did I forget to introduce myself a moment ago? I'm not really sure. The director said. The director had actually been standing right next to Jong in the entire time and had seen and heard everything that happened. But now wasn't the time to tell the truth, was it? When the director didn't answer, Jongin felt embarrassed and wondered if he had rushed things. He didn't need to be upset though. He was still ahead of the other groups. He was the only one who knew about the new highest rank. The review would happen in 3 days. There was a time before everyone found out. I need to meet with him again before that happens. How should I do that? While Jongin was thinking, he saw someone running quickly toward the association building. Was that? It was someone he knew. As soon as the man came through the door, Jongin quickly asked a question. President Baek, what are you doing here? Baek's eyes got big when he saw Jongin. President Choi. Jongin looked closely at Yoonho's face. He seemed like he had been caught doing something he shouldn't. Yoonho hadn't come because he had learned something from someone he trusted. He arrived much too quickly for that to be a coincidence. Considering how far away White Tiger headquarters is from the Hunters Association, that meant President Baek knew about this all along. He already knew what would happen here. Does he know about that man? No, Yoonho wouldn't have allowed him to be tested if that were true. If I were Yoonho, I would have signed him up right away before letting anyone reevaluate him. Suddenly everything started to make sense. The White Tiger Guild, the training accident, the Red Gate, the unknown helper, and now a new powerful hunter. Someone helped White Tiger and they want to keep it a secret. Is it a new hunter who hasn't been officially recognized yet? Or was this person a criminal trying to hide their name? Now everything was clear. Chugong had discovered who it was. President Baek was breathing heavily, because he hadn't simply allowed Jinwoo to act as he pleased. No, President Baek couldn't stop him. President Choi smiled at President Baek. You let this chance get away. But Chugong was different. I will gladly take this great opportunity. President Choi walked past Yoonho, without saying anything else. Yoonho looked around, but Jinwoo wasn't anywhere to be seen. Was I too late? Yoonho sighed, watching Chugong walk away. To think the leader of the Hunters Guild would also be here. Yoonho scratched his head and mumbled. Things are getting tricky. Visiting hours at Seoul Ishin Hospital ended at 8 p.m. You are Park Kunji's guardian, right? Yes. You can go in now. Did you know visiting hours were almost over? I do. Yes. Jinwoo walked quickly toward his mother's hospital room. He was able to get there in time because he hurried. Jinwoo opened the door, went to the bed, and sat quietly next to his mother. She was very still, like she was asleep. When I look at her, I hope she will wake up like everything is normal. But she was in a very deep sleep, and she couldn't wake up. She learned she was sick with a disease that started when strange doorways began showing up. Doctors said about 10 people in the hospital had the same problem. He carefully held his mother's hand. Mom, luckily, a machine powered by special stones kept his mother's hand from drying up, even though she had been asleep for many years. Sadly, those special stones cost a lot of money. Keeping the machine running for a whole month cost over 5 million won. If the group hadn't paid for the hunter's medical care, it would have been too expensive for him to manage when he was young, and in his 20s. He could hold his mother's hand because of all he had done. But now things were changing. He wasn't just happy to keep her alive. He had a chance to make her completely well. The elixir of life was a special medicine given to him as a reward. If it would really work didn't matter right now. The important thing was making it. I will help you. Even though their father wasn't there, and her health was getting worse, his mother tried her best to care for her kids. She would be feeling better soon and able to get up. Please be patient until then. He wondered how long he had been watching over her. After a long time, he stood up. His visit was over, so Jinwoo quietly left the room and carefully closed the door. But when he turned around he saw someone he knew. So it was really you who dealt with the monsters in the 2 dungeons, wasn't it? That deep voice and those keen eyes belonged to Jin Chul-woo, the leader of the Hunters Association's watching group. Jinwoo did not say anything. He didn't have any reason to be there and didn't want to be either. Instead he wanted to know something else. How did you find me? I thought about where you might go and made a list. Then I called the hospital, and they told me you were here. A group had been paying for his mother's hospital bills, but they stopped recently. The hospital was probably the first place the person looked for him. The surveillance team moved quickly, just as Jinwoo thought they would. He couldn't help but laugh when he asked, "Did you really look for me just to ask about what happened that day?" Jinchul shook his head. "That's not why we're here." "Then what do you want?" "Someone wants to meet you." "Will you please come with me?" These people were from the Hunter Association's surveillance team. Their job was to watch hunters and punish those who did something wrong. Most hunters did not want to meet with them. Because of this, Jinwoo didn't quite trust Jinchul. "Is that a request?" "No." Jinchul removed his sunglasses. He bent way down, almost making a right angle, and asked politely, "I am asking you to do it." Jinwoo did not think the serious man would try so hard, and after thinking for a moment, he decided to at least find out who was causing all of this. "Who wants me to do this?" Jinchul stood up straight. "President Gun-hee, Go of the Hunters Association." He raised his hand and pointed around the corner behind him. "The president is coming this way." At the president's office at the Hunters Association, the doctor checking President Go looked worried. He took the stethoscope away from President Go's chest. "Mr. President." "No, you don't need to explain. I could tell what you were thinking." President Go laughed as he fastened his shirt. The doctor didn't say anything. That he was even able to get out of bed was amazing. Even so, President Go kept working quickly and didn't slow down at all. He had even asked the doctor to check him at his office because he didn't have time to go to the hospital. "You know," he said, as he put on his jacket. When people began to understand healing and use magic to help others, President Go hoped he could become young again and feel strong. But it didn't work out that way. He wondered if healing couldn't help with getting older. It seems even the best healers can't stop people from aging. If healers could cure every sickness, hospitals would have to close, and doctors wouldn't have jobs. Luckily, or maybe unluckily, that wasn't true. Mana helped with healing, but healing magic only fixed injuries like cuts and broken bones. It could even help a lost arm grow back. But it couldn't help with illnesses like a fever or a cold. Because of that, I still have a job. But the doctor was watching President Go, who was getting ready for his next task. I hope the president of all people can find a way to get better, even if it takes magic. Right now, neither healing magic nor regular medicine could help President Go with what was wrong.